Starting on our Bronco, getting this body pulled off on one of our Broncos. This body is coming off, and it needs a lot of repair. It's rusty real bad at the rockers, you know, because it's lived its life in the swamp. It's going on that frame, which it belonged on to begin with, and I've got a 66 body that's going on this. So we're gonna put full size Dana 60 front end and 70 rear. So we're starting to pull it apart. Got the windshield frame cut off of there, which was a mess. Pulled the grill in this fender. We're gonna work on the other fender, seats, dash, steering column, hood, and start getting the body loose and get it off of there. So I think my plan so far is I've already got a T18 transmission and a 205 transfer case in it, with 488 gears on these old 40 groundhogs. I may stick with the same size tire, but I'm gonna go to a super swamper because I wanna go out west and do some trails. But my crawl ratio on this thing is like 61:1, which was okay for down here in Florida. But when we're gonna do some of these harder trails, I wanna be over 100. So I'm thinking about going 410 gears and a 2.72 doubler between the transmission and transfer case. And that'll give me like 140:1 crawl ratio. And that's where I'm headed with it right now. So anyhow, let's keep going.
So we're using the free off-road forklift that you guys have most likely hopefully seen in the last video. If you haven't, go check that out.
Tire's gotta hit the forklift, of course. I got it. Okay, we're back with this Bronco. We're starting on Bronco number 3 here, kind of. We got the body off, as you see, and I built this Bronco about 25 years ago, and it was just for the swamps down here in Florida, but we're going to change it up to go out west, and we're going to put full width axles in it. Got higher compression heads, 4-barrel headers. It's already got forged pistons and a little 268 comp cam, you know, double roller chaining gears, nothing fancy. So it's got a T18 that I put in a long time ago with a 6.3:1 first gear and a 205 transfer case. I think we're going to put a doubler in here of some sorts, something like a 2.72:1 ahead of the transfer case. We're going to go with a Dana 70 in the rear and a 60 in the front. So we're just starting to take things apart. We're going to change the heads out in the intake, put the exhaust on it, and just run it. See how we like it, and then probably pull the motor off so I can sandblast and wire wheel and paint the frame. I got to fix a few things on it, and then we're going to start converting over to the full width axles and see about going up in U-joint size. These are just typical half-ton size joints. I don't recall they're 3 1/4 inch side width yoke. So we're going to go up to the larger yokes probably, and change the angle on our drive shaft angles a little bit. So let's keep going, and we'll see about getting these heads and intake switched over. So. Yep, there you go. Okay, so we got the heads and intake off of this exhaust. What we're going to do is change out the heads. When I put this motor together, I got this motor for free from a friend of mine years ago, and he spent a lot of good money on this motor. Forged pistons, little 268 comp cam. These heads, he ended up putting Chevy lifters in it and wondering why he lost oil pressure. So I put a set of lifters in it. I put the largest CC heads that I could get to lower the compression, a 2-barrel Autolite, single exhaust, because it was going to go live in the woods, and I knew the gas it was going to be in it was going to be old. I didn't want to be running, you know, gas was going to sit in it for months on end, and I didn't want to be having rattling and pinging all the time, and I didn't need the performance. So the bottom end didn't match the top end of this motor, but now that we're going to start using it a little more and treating it a little better, we're changing it up. I've ported and polished these heads. I've done a stage 2 port job on it, gasket match, and a slight cleanup on the ports, and I did the bowls real good. And it's got one-piece stainless valves and springs and retainers to match the camshaft from comp cams. It's got magnum tip roller rocker arms, hardened push rods, and guide plates. Nothing exotic, but good quality parts going to go in this. We're going to raise the compression. The heads are going to flow a lot better. I've got an old set of headers to go on it. I've got, I don't know if I have a good intake for it. I've got an old SP2P, which is an outdated emissions manifold from Edelbrock, and I haven't decided on a carburetor. Right now I've got a little Harley that's going to go on. I'd rather have a 500 Edelbrock, but I think this will be somewhere in the ballpark of 280 to 300 horsepower, maybe a tad more, but I don't really care. It's going to be way more than I need for this. In fact, the cam doesn't even match the purpose, but hopefully I can get a lot better idle out of it with these heads, raising the compression a little bit. But so we're going to put these heads on, and we're probably going to end up doing a little work on that SP2P manifold and using it for right now because that's what I've got. But and who knows, for low RPM it might be just a thing. So we'll see. So let's get started putting these on. We got to clean up the block decks and put these heads on.